Hi guys, Ben here from Witterings Fitness with our sports therapist Sam, and in this video we're going to be continuing to talk about the squat. We're going to go through the brace and the breathing involved in squat. We're going to go through the difference between knee flexion and hip hinge. It's really important to cover that to understand what the difference is between a squat and a deadlift basically. And then the last point will be neutral head position. Okay, so the bracing and the breathing is the sort of final, most important bit to do with the squat. We want to basically stabilize his spine. Okay, so we're trying to, when the weight is going on his back with the bar, we don't want it going straight through the spine. We want to actually use his muscles in here and build up the pressure in his torso to take that pressure off the spine basically. You'll also be a lot stronger when you're braced and with that neutral head. So we don't want the head to go forward or up, and that's why when we're training in the gym we don't have any mirrors, we don't look in the mirror to check your position because that's going to change your head position. If you change your head position you'll actually be slightly weaker and in a more risk of injury. The other thing with the breathing and the bracing is it's going to increase the pressure in his torso and then keep him more rigid. Okay, so the way to get this breathing, if you can't get it stood up, just lay on the floor and try it laying on the floor. Hands on your belly, breathe in, push your belly out. And see, most of his breath went up into his chest up here, okay? So relax your chest, okay? Push your belly out this way. That's it, good. And you're making a fat belly, okay? That's place number one to breathe. Number two is up in your ribs. So if you put your hands up in your ribs and try and like spread your ribs apart a bit. So you're breathing in up into the chest, you're expanding out this rib cage. That's good. Okay? And then the last one's easy because that's up in your chest. So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, big breath, and try and squeeze it all in. So it looks like this. Suck in as much as you can and then squish it all together, and then the pressure goes up inside me. Okay? So into your belly first. Good. Up into the chest, and now squish it all together. No. Okay, right. So let his breath out. That's fine. So he let his breath out, and that means that all the pressure is now gone. So plug it and then whoosh together, okay? So imagine I'm gonna whack you in the belly. Yeah. Belly breathe, crush it, good, and that's him now, much more solid position. We're gonna pan around to Hayden, who's doing the sound for us now, because he's got a really horrific belly. So he's gonna push his belly out really far, and he can do all sorts of tricks with his belly. So you can really see there that he's pushing it out a lot. Do you want to do your trick? Go on, Hayden. Look at that. Okay, cool. Right. Not that serious. Okay, right, so that's the brace. Okay, so now what I want you to do is do that while you squat, and just you'll feel the difference it makes to your squat. It's going to be a big difference. So we've got the 3 points of contact. There's a lot going on now because we've talked about 3 points of contact from the previous video. If you're getting a bit overwhelmed, just think about now the breathing part, okay? So hands on your belly, make a big belly, breathe out, good, and crush it all together. The chest is the last thing, okay? Now try your squat, keep in that position there, and then drive, push the floor away, okay? And as you come up, you're exhaling. So you're gonna exhale on the way up, that's it. Nice and slow, and exhale on the way up. How does that feel? Okay. So it should feel a lot stronger in this position, okay? His head is in a neutral position, but a lot of the time people will poke the head. So if you just do your squat, if you go to the side, so face that way, and you squat down and poke your head, like really poke your chin out, this is something we want to avoid here. So what if you do a thumbs up sort of position here, put it on your chest, okay? This is how you're going to make sure that your head stays in line, okay? And do your squat again. So you know your chin is staying down in the right position, like that. If it comes off, obviously you're poking your head out too much. Okay, so he's bracing, he's got his head in a good position, and he's really keeping that tension in there. That's gonna make a really big difference to when he gets on the weight, on the bar. A little way to sort of demonstrate this is if you hold your arm out like this, I'm gonna push down, just out, okay? I'm gonna push down, resist. Okay, now watch what happens as you lift his head up, all the way back, go on, all the way. And you feel that little loss of tension there, okay? So that loss of tension and power is because he's got a kink in his spine. So when his spine is, so his central nervous system's going down here, his spine, as he's kinking here, you can see the creases, that now is shortened, has shut off his central nervous system a little bit, so he's got less strength. It's put a kink in the system. okay? You'll also be less flexible like this as well. So if you stand in an overextended position, so really arch your back, so again, that's now we're arching the back, we've got a bad spinal position, turn this way. Okay, head all the way down this time. Same thing if you go down, still got a kink, so he's arching. Okay, now he's got a really, really nasty squat position here. Okay, head up as well, so try that like really like as if you're looking in a mirror. Arch your back big time. Okay, so we don't want this too much arch and there's too much head position. I'm gonna bend his arm back now and just see how much, in fact you do it to me. So hand here, yep. Other hand, and then one hand here. So I'm gonna stand with my back overextended, my head back, so I'm really like in a really nasty position. Bend my arm back, see how far you can go until you get resistance. So about here, and now watch what happens. As soon as I tighten up, brace, and now see where it goes. It goes a lot further, okay? And that's fine, like no pain at all, okay? So that's all to do with the nervous system, making sure those nerves are in a nice aligned position. Okay, really important still, if you're not going to squat, if you want to do squats at home, the main thing is just keep it tight in here as if someone's going to punch you, and then head position. Okay, so the final point of this is the difference between a hip hinge and knee flexion, okay? So if you stand facing away again, so as you squat down, try this is knees here, this is knee flexion. Whereas hips bending, that's hip hinge, okay? So come back up, try and just do a hip hinge only, so don't bend your knees, okay? So no, just a little unkink of the knees. Now this is more of a hip flexion, keep going. Okay, so this is where we're going into more of a deadlift position, and that's what we're going to cover later on. So that's the hip hinge. Okay, this nice neutral spine, and the only thing that's happening is he's moving really just at the hip. Some people try and squat like this, okay, and then what's going to happen is the weight's going to pull you forward and it's going to hurt your back. Okay, now likewise, we don't just want to do hip hinge. So if you just, we don't just want to do knee flexion. So if you try and squat now, just doing knee flexion, don't hip hinge at all, really upright, he's got to probably come onto his toes. Yeah. That's the only thing he can do to get lower, he's going to come onto his toes. So he's lost that heel position, which we don't want to see. Okay? So that's the difference between knee flexion and hip hinge. In the squat, we want about sort of 50-50. Well, we want a lot of more knee flexion than we do hip. And in the deadlift, which is that forward bow, that hip hinge, we want more hip flexion than we do in the squat. Okay? That's it for this video. Next video, we're going to actually get onto the bar and finally actually do a squat. So there's a lot involved. Thanks for watching. See you in a bit.